Are you neurodivergent? And do you know what the secrets to successful unmasking are? Hi, I am Dr. Craig. I'm an osteopathic and neurodivergent physician and a love, life, and everything coach for neurodivergent individuals. Today, I want to talk about the secrets to successful unmasking and a lot of the problems that people encounter when they're unmasking and what you can do about them. One of the problems that neurodivergent individuals face that lead to unmasking crises is the fragmentation of their nervous system into separate state-dependent neural networks that have their different abilities tied to. So you might have a particular emotional state that's tied to whatever environment you did the job in. You may have different sort of emotional filters and things that you use when you have the mask of the parent on. And masking isn't bad, and I have other videos that talk about that, but conscious masking is much better than unconscious masking. So we have all these masks that represent discrete neural networks within our brain, similar to how if you learn different languages, you actually get subdivisions of different neurologic areas. Certain parts of the brain will actually be distinctly responsible for, say, French and Spanish and Mandarin, as opposed to your native language. So because that tends to happen a little bit more in neurodivergent individuals, we get this high degree of fragmentation. And when we shift away from those identities to something that's relaxed, that feels natural, that's in our core, then what happens is a lot of times we can actually lose access to a lot of those states and a lot of the different abilities that are associated with those states. Being heavily fragmented and heavily masked isn't sustainable. So this is the fundamental root of skill regression. Now, the other kind of part to that is as we move away from our masks, we have to have the ability to have intrinsic motivation as opposed to extrinsic motivation. So when we are intrinsically motivated, the motivation comes from within. It's much less situational. Heavy reliance on extrinsic motivation creates too much need for external prompting and stress or external aids where we can actually build and integrate those programs inside, especially if our neurology is unified. So basically drive and motivation as we move out of the mask state becomes more of an issue unless we build good systems of motivation. So the key to successful unmasking is essentially to, as we unmask, we also unify the brain and we maintain access to all of our different skills, abilities, memories, as opposed to just shifting into an unmasked state where we haven't integrated the masks and worked with the emotional charge of those masks. So I have a 5-step program where I actually talk about all of that and how to do it safely, quickly, easily, and effectively within a fun community setting. So if you want to learn more about it, comment, activate below. And as always, like, share, follow, and send this to a neurodivergent individual in need.